augments per game means that sometimes you can get one of those 2-1 augments that locks you in immediately into a line.
And I do want to explain a little bit why Prismatic does favor macro versus why gold does favor reroll, because gold augments have more general combat augments inside of them. That gives you better concentration of power, while Prismatic augments, a lot of them are item-giving augments, which allow you to spread your power around.
I think gold is, like I mentioned earlier, very good for melee comp specifically. There's just a lot of great items, and as you mentioned, Clement, combat augments. There's a lot of +1s at 3-2 as well. And there's some explosive augments that maybe feel like Prismatic in terms of trait tracker. If you can cash it out, you can really take over the game in Stage 4.
Another big one for the tempo side are those item-specific items like high voltage, thorn-plated armor. If you get lucky and you have the components for that, it could really easily snowball you.
Even Category 5. Runons for Ezreal. Deathblade is one of the sponsored Academy items alongside a generic tank item like Steadfast. Could be an option for the Ezreal Reroll Academy line, which we haven't seen yet in Game 1.
Jeduso, I know you want to...
This is the OG PBE opener, Singed Draven 2.
Extra attack speed on that Draven, you know?
This is one of those spots where you really want to pay attention to what you're dropped from this round. Having the tier and the sword is a bit flexible, and he's going to hold on to the Morgana 2 instead of the Violet.
But speaking of high voltage,
Could lean into Rebel, which is a combat Jedusaur likes playing a lot. His entire prep group with the other French players that were eliminated yesterday really enjoyed playing Rebel all throughout this tournament. We'll see if that'll be the case with this Vander encounter.
Academy as well. There's some really good Academy augments that are also a part of the gold slate we have here, so...
Oh!
Or
think no more.
Get the ready, that should be 3, right? Oh, did he sell the Renata? No, he does have it. Okay, so that's a 2-1 Chem Baron with War for the Undercity.
Sure.
I'm never selling my Chem Baron units.
We
There's no
have
way.
The Vander augment actually picked for Salpimi. We've got the Portable Forge for Li Lol. Yeah, War for the Undercity for Jedusaur. Dasik actually taking Starry Night. And for Lucas and Bio, I really wonder what they're going to get out of those. Yeah,
I believe it is.
Curious to see what Dasik commits to in terms of the open reroll lines, what units he's been able to hold especially. Lilwell going into one of the generic artifacts we're seeing here with the Mana Zane picked up off the Portable Forge. Currently on Tristana, probably won't stay there for too long.
I guess something that he likes because he picked the Mana Zane out of the Artifact Anvil last game too.
It's just very flexible in terms of how many different lines you can play into, especially in Stage 4.
And another go big or go home moment for Ironbog as he goes with the Patient Study, usually played as a lose streak option, but of course if you win streak you still get the +2 anyway.
It fits with the
What?
script.
We're back.
You had him. Whoa!
What?
So the meta
He's got
has gone
mini-me's again.
full circle. We're back to Zeri being the best reroll comp in the game.
I guess
How does he get 5 of them on 2-2? That 2 trick plus a pair.
I
What?
will tell you 2 words, baby. Brazilian magic.
Those are the Brazilian colors, I'm just saying.
That's
That's
right.
Oh,
so
you're right,
true.
Clement.
Even the components too. I mean, Lucas is set up.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got IE. Just need to pick up a rod off of Carousel. You've got your Rage Blade.
Yeah, actually, I'm curious to see if he chooses to slam IE or if he wants to greed the sword to try and ensure the Gunblade. It is always tough.
I think
you need
greed
2
it.
rods, but most people feel that the IE is optional, Gunblade necessary.
Was opting for a lose streak maybe there, faces Jedusaur so gets the win instead. Hoping probably for either just a Rage Blade component on the carousel or just maybe that 6 Zeri to really accelerate his tempo in this lobby.
You're
if
getting
it's
too
rod
ahead of yourself.
And Zeri.
It will be the
Actually,
IE
does slam
plan.
the IE, yeah.
Open bow.
Okay.
Yeah, he realizes his board is way too strong, so might as well just pump up the lobby tempo. Lilo already building into the items that you would expect out of the Dominators.
It is going to be kind of a big transition to get there. I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see how Lilo plays the end of Stage 2 and especially Stage 3, because you kind of want to slowly do this transition, hold units that allow you to not require as much gold on 4-2, although there are some players that are willing to just play whatever the strongest board is and then on 4-2 open sell and play for a full pivot.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of compositions that use a Nashor's Tooth in this meta, so that would be my guess, but you're right. He doesn't really have the base units.
Hear me out.
Uh-huh.
Nashor's Ezreal. I've been trying to preach this for a while. I think it's actually quite good.
You're going to have to sell me on this. I don't know the tech. I'm sorry.
After the show.
After
Don't
the
worry.
show.
Sounds like me selling Kassadin Nashor's last set multi-strikers.
Wait, that was kind of good, though.
It was.
There is
Why
a
I sold
pan.
it.
3-cost pan as the big prize here. Is anyone going to go for that? Any ambushers?
One right off the bat. Lucas considering it?
Lucas just stood in the path and is like, I will let this come to me. I have earned this.
So Lucas is playing with the Watchers, and that does... Usually it does point... Potentially you could go for the 4 Firelight. I know it's not the preferred version, but it is open to him.
And favored the Frying Pan over just finishing the Rage Blade in
Yeah.
this case. So a little bit risky. Obviously, you assume, hey, I'm going to hit a rod at some point in this game, hopefully.
Surely.
We'll see if that's the case at Krug.
I'm not going to lie. I think that's a very risky move from Lucas. Having the opportunity to finish out the Rage Blade and then just play tempo for the rest of the stage instead
Whoa.
play for a higher cap.
Two
Look at-
defenders versus Jedusor. Usually just one, but 2 players trying to open for it here. Both Dasik and Salpimi trying to stop the Chem Baron player from continuing the loss streak. Instead, it will be Lucas benefiting from this.
So what happened to Salpimi's board? Salpimi is going to be playing up against Li Lo. So actually looks like maybe Jedusor is safe.
One more round for Jedusor.
It's pretty likely he faces one of these 2 players.
Yeah, in the next round, absolutely.
Oh, and we have our 100 players. Distop running into Bio and breaking his streak. Bio also going for the 2-trick. We're going to have to take a look at what those 2 stars
I
are.
think he got Vladimir, if I had to guess.
Ooh, Salvage Bin coming in for Disho. Pretty interesting. This is one of the most fun augments to watch when you're watching pro play because it is so skill expressive.
The optimization.
When players are able to do these huge transitions, and I think most importantly, keep track in their head of what the components are, because they're still going to a path that may be completely undiscovered when they go to their 4-2 roll down.
Yeah,
Are we seeing the Nande Day special? We saw this exact setup yesterday. Patient study into Quick Strikers. Hopefully no open for it in stage 3 onto Jedusor.
Yeah.
Please don't mention that. Please don't mention that. I had high hopes for Nandoda, unfortunately. Bio obviously losing to Gistop is going to go on to the most likely Sork lines. That's completely open. Ironbach with a pretty big find here on just a free Twisted Fate. One of the easier ways to stabilize his quick striker board.
Ooh, Jewel Gauntlet for the Morgana, hopefully.
Ooh. You know, I do wonder, Twisted Fate 2, don't get me wrong, it's fantastic, super powerful. On stage 3 in particular, I feel that the melee upgraded units have more impact because they burst through the front line so much faster. How much do you actually need to dig as Ironbot to stabilize on just a TF2?
If they get 3 stars, then yes. But if they're all 2 stars, then usually TF is the better stabilization point to itemize.
Okay. Will depend on the component drops here at Krug as well to see if you can get a 2 or 3 item TF early on in stage 3. One thing to note, Jedusor, unfortunately, his streak was broken, faced off against LPME. And that's going to mean going to have to reset that Chem Baron loss streak in stage 3.
Oof.
Huge hit.
It's expected. In a day like this, I think one of the key things is a tactical griefing, is stopping Chem Baron players from having those crazy loss streaks, is not allowing a single player to just take complete control of the lobby like we saw happen quite often yesterday in day 2.
I mean, it even happened, I feel like, to Li Lo, like just taking the War for the Undercity so late and even getting that 7th in that last game. I feel like taking Chem Baron is going to be quite difficult today.
And
Still
we're-
2 5-streakers on our screen right now, Lilo and Dish Soap. Not sure if they're going to be up against one another, but keep an eye on whether or not they're going to go up to 6 right now. You can see it from Dish Soap.
There it is.
Lilo's aware. He's looking. You see that? He looks over to the other side. He sees the level 6 on the right hand of the screen. He's going to match the level up from Dish Soap. And look at the items on this Ziggs.
Very good
Those-
speed on the reaction.
Those look like Ziggs is holding Silco items to me. Those are from the Silco at some point, I think.
I agree.
We did see a singular game of Ziggs reroll across the first 2 days of this tournament. Not sure that'll be the case this time around, but it was played at least once yesterday.
Do you have the stats?
I don't know who the player was. I just saw it and I just chuckled to myself.
And it does look like Distop is going to be taking away that Nash or Ezreal angle away. I'm just kidding.
Oh, man. He doesn't know the tech.
Of course, we are on the Vander encounter, so triple gold across the board here. Wondering if we have anything for the +1s in these compositions. Bulky Buddy's always a favorite in these Dominator comps, but also Slammin'.
Bio has a chance for Blazing Soul. I think that was the pickup there, bottom left.
Disho playing Salvage Bin. I was thinking, is he going to take Slammin', get the additional component, instead going to take the support cache?
And Daysix seems like he's locking into Tristana potentially. Picks up the Gold Collector off all that Shimmers with the Starry Night. So now we know what reroll comp he's going for. One of the comps we talked about, top of show, and we saw yesterday across both days really, very strong if you're able to scale this Tristana, if you're able to find a strong enough front line.
And he does have good items for it, but I wonder how good it is to lock into this now.
No stack Tristana.
Right?
Some
Like,
players
it's
actually
fun.
believe this a lot. Even Chaos, for instance, was selling me on this idea that if you can just stabilize stage 3, it's actually good enough.
I mean, Starry Night's obviously one of the best ways to stabilize on stage 3. He will be rolling a lot, but even this, I mean, look at his gold right now. He did roll quite a bit and did not find Tristana 2, and he's going to lose this fight right now. So I think Daysix running out of time to stabilize.
Yeah.
A really cool thing about Starry Night and Tristana is you can actually continue to level. Your Starry Night chances go up. So even on level 8, it's 50% chance on hitting the 2-star Tristana. And that means you're not actually losing that much value by playing tempo with this line that does need to get stacks.
And because it is a snowballing comp where you have to find the 2-star and the power right away, it is one of those comps like we saw earlier in the set with Camille and Loot Ambusher where you have to roll down to 10.
Now
And we're
that
seeing a
one's
very
solidified.
big
I
Oh.
knew you were going to bring it up. I knew you were going to bring it up.
I believed in Brazilian magic. I think this is Brazilian sorcery at this point. I'm not really sure where he's going.
Oh, I think... Oh, wait. It's probably Twitch, right?
He had a 5 Zeri start.
Oh, he did. I forgot that was
He had
him.
the 2 triggers.
Poor Zeri wins him last game and then nope, just thrown away
Thank
to the
you for your
bin.
services, ma'am.
I will say one of the big problems with the sniper line, with Twitch in particular, is the front line. And this is one of the solutions that we saw once that Twitch buff came through on the 4 snipers especially.
Hear me out. Is he still playing Zeri? He's just going back for her.
I do not think so. That would be something.
I can't imagine that is gold efficient in terms of playstyle. If he was holding the Zeris, I imagine a couple missed actually interest intervals.
Nerd. He's believing in magic.
I'm sorry. I've been befuddled by Lucas this entire time, but he's here. Let's see what he does. Big find here is the echoes. I wonder if Dish Soap is going to go into the scrap. Usually when salvage, you kind of consider that as a position.
He took support cash. So I'd also like to see what he got. Him as well as Jedusor. Oh,
The
Jedusor got Locket.
It looks
yeah.
like on the Sing, so just really trying to scale into a lot of power once he gets this cash out. Once he has his Smeech online, we'll have some extra survivability on that Smeech, which he can't get himself into trouble a few times.
And it was Gem for Dish Soap, I think, right?
Yeah,
That's
there
what
it
it
is.
was? Okay, yeah.
Hello, Mort. Double
like-
win streaker.
Ooh,
Holy, you're right.
surely they have to face each other now,
Dish Soap
right?
and Lilo's yet to fight each other even once this game.
Is this
Yeah.
the world champion special? Like you just don't have to play each other?
Yep. Okay, Dish Soap leveling up 7. Even look at his gold. Has to go down to 22. Normally, you see players leveling up to 7 on 3-5.
They
especially
still
when
don't
they
hit
still
each
have
other.
30 gold. But yeah, Dish Soap wants to maintain the streak, and it looks like he's going to up against Bio's board. Blazing Soul playing around some Visionaries in the back line.
Yeah, but I don't know if I like those visionary items either.
And really good tempo play from Dish Soap, just slamming every item he gets. We saw right away as he got those components through, just immediately making the best items possible. Picks up the gem here as well to get immediate power in stage 3.
I think Bio is holding on to 4 Zigs. Am I being mistaken? Those do
Oh.
look like 4 Zigs.
They're unleashing the secret tech on this day 3. They're,
Zeri
they're
reroll
holding it
and
closer to
Ziggs
the heart.
reroll.
Exactly.
Lilo and Dish Soap have to face each other at some point, right?
2 stages, no meeting. Let's take a look at who's going to win out. It does look like Lilo with a better backline, Mana Zane, and upgraded unit. Also with the Vi pair.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dish Soap probably has the edge on the front line. His some more upgrades. He's got 4 units there, and early Alawi can be really powerful, but there's so much damage on the side of Lilo.
No, they still don't face each other.
2 full stages, and both players will be able to dodge each other. Dissoap going up against Dasik, who has rolled to just 10, though.
And already has a Leona 3.
But doesn't have a Tristana 2. He is sitting on Tristana 1 in that pack.
But it's Leona 3 and it's Rel 3. There's actually 2 big 3-stars on Dasik's board, which is buying quite a bit of time here. But when you do have this extra execute coming through from the Tristana, but the shields!
Oh my goodness.
What a big deal for the Renata to be able to throw over.
Even with Dissoap not having the upgraded Ezreal, the gem is giving him so much bonus damage that the front line holding up is enough. He's actually able to ramp up faster than the Tristana player because Dasik's on Tristana 1.
That is a great point.
And Dasik, we mentioned he's a player who really, I think, evolved, has matured as a player, has a much better mental. But after the first game, now looking at this position in the second game, you really have to have a lot of resilience to stay focused, stay locked in, hope that you're going to hit Tristana soon, have Starry Night maybe catch up later on in stage 4, and still be able to play a high tempo game.
He has rolled a lot of gold, and in this position, there's no Temple Tristana to be played. I wonder how many stacks he actually has. I wouldn't be surprised if it's less than, 5 stacks.
Well, you were also saying, Clement, too, right? It was Alan that said this, I think, yesterday. When even looking at those Tristana items, you've got the Rage Blade as well as the Gold Collector, and it's actually suboptimal because it's not always the bowling balls that are actually going to get that final KO. But I like the Gold Collector and Rage Blade combo personally. I think it just gives you extra chances to actually get the KO with the bowling ball if it lines up right.
I haven't looked at the stats, but it's definitely possible that Shojin could be better in that setup. Let's take a look at they finally meet each other. Let's go.
Woo! It only took stage 4.
Doesn't look like either player's made some marginal upgrade to their board. So this is about the same board that we saw on stage 3. Front line's going to hold up for Dissoap for a little bit. It's going to fall for Lilo.
Great targeting here.
Ooh, look at the Ezreal. Dissoap, you can see the little stand up in his chair. Like he's relieved. He was able to snap the win streak of Lulo. Puts him in a great position.
I will say, day 1, game 1, Dissoap had an insane win streak into stage 4, and despite that, with the Rebel game finished in a 5th place position, we'll see if he can really utilize this HP buffer to, at this point, almost guarantee a top 4. Has 7 points already after that first game.
Bio is rolling now. As we see Dissoap doing the same just to get that Ezreal 2.
He's going for the teaming up.
And Bio here, the full pivot into the Emissary line, has thankfully found both of the forecasts already with the Garen and the Mbessa. Dasik not happy about the Tristanas here.
Yeah, I mean, Bio doesn't have the Tristana on the board yet, though.
This is Moonlight coming through, right, for Bio? Yeah, yeah.
Okay, there it is.
This does make stabilizing on 8 so much cheaper. You don't need to worry about hitting something like the LeBlanc or a Zoe 2 instead. It's going to be guaranteed power from the Zyra 3.
Yeah, does just have a Wayward Mundo on the board right now. But this is not looking like a particularly good roll down from Bio. It's kind of forcing his way to stabilize, but he would really like that Garen pair to be upgraded. On the other hand, Salpimi not doing so hot with his gloves off Vander copies. They must have gone to the bar. They were in the encounter, so he's rolled a lot of gold and still 3 copies away.
Both 2-cost rerollers, Dasik and Salpimi, very behind on tempo, and we're seeing the direct reflection of that in the HP totals here. 22 for Salpimi, 28 for Dasik.
Big hits.
And every other more flexible player, they're hitting their upgrades. It's going to be very tough for these players to come back into the game.
And just having the Garen 2 is huge, ahead of anybody else in the lobby right now. But even with Dissoap...
Oh, he actually sold the Caitlyn and got 2 Jinxes on level 8.
Well, he got something from... That's Duo Q,
Big
right?
upgrade.
Yeah, it is Duo Q, yeah. So I don't know what... So he got the Caitlyn from Duo Q? Is that what that was?
Yeah, he got Caitlyn Savika, but sells both of them. But he got his own Duo Q, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
And difference to that day 1 game, he found the Jinxes on 8, had Alawi 2 already, so very different level 8 roll down here for Dissoap on the Rebel line.
Beautiful stuff. On the other hand, Lucas is going to go into the Artillerist and might win on 1 HP.
Wait, and so Lucas picked up that early frying pan. He didn't use it yet. Does he, right? Does he have the setup to play 6 Artillerists this game? Because he took the Artillerist +1 on his 4-2 augment. This is something we saw Bio do. It was kind of an Urgot 3 setup, but in the Golden Spatula. But 6 Artillerist is a huge win condition when you're playing around this line.
We saw it from Lococo yesterday as well with the Anomaly on Tristana calling card, able to pretty much get a free extra +1 Artillerist.
There's a lot of Sork players here, at least 2 Sork players and a LeBlanc coming through. It's going to be Lucas saving the lobby. Not there for Ironbog and the other Sork player.
Lucas does actually have both Artillerist in, so with that, he's currently sitting at, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is 6 Artillerists, correct? On his board. So Lucas, once he upgrades everything on his board, is going to be a powerhouse.
Yep, 6 Artillerists, tons of damage coming through.
And again, when we talk about the sniper line and why it does so well when you're playing Golemify, it's because when you're playing so many snipers, you don't have the ability to put in the front line. Well, you got 6 Artillerists, you don't need to worry about front line because you have this gigantic Golem standing in front of everybody.
Finally, the Vander 3 has been hit by Salpimi, but is it too little too late? 5 loss streak, 11 HP. There was a Chem Baron player in Jediswar as well who maybe is going to get very strong somewhere in this stage 4 or 5.
Doesn't look like there's good single target damage from Ironbog. That Zoe still on 1 star.
Got some disruption
No elite
though,
stun.
with the Jace.
Oh, and the Jace nearly takes Vander away for a while.
One more. Oh, barely misses that cast though. One more cast from the Jace maybe would have made a difference. At least would have killed a few more units. Ironbog gonna take a hit there. Is on Jace pair. Keep that in mind. Lots of pairs on Ironbog's bench.
Looking for some good augments for his gloves off Vander.
I mean, Giant Size sounds pretty reasonable with only 6 gold remaining.
Yep.
You have the durability coming in from Watcher. It kind of fits into another bucket of tankiness. And you're already kind of playing for this 1v9 style. Doesn't want to, though. Ooh.
I want to know if...
Bulwark sounds pretty reasonable, too.
Oh, it works really well with Watchers again.
What was that, Necra?
Sorry.
So I want to know. I was curious if Lucas had actually hit what he wanted. Did he need to actually get the anomaly for the Artillerist crest?
No, he had
already
it.
had
He
it.
had it
He had
without it.
2 emblems.
He already
Oh,
had.
never mind.
Because of the frying pan from stage
That's
2.
right.
He knew all along.
Nah, what a
Looking at
no.
Dasik, very unfortunate low roll game. Starry Knight, an Econ augment that's directly empowering these 2-cost rerolls. Despite that, not able to hit the Tristana, where Salpimi has already hit the Vander in this case, and 14 HP could be 1 life in stage 5.
But can we call it low roll if he opted into the Tristana line so late?
He has to opt into something with Starry Knight if he didn't have a clear line before that in stage 2. It's not that Tristana not doing enough, it's just that Tristana's not even hit yet. So it's not the case that the stack's not being strong enough in this case.
When he had Rel 3 and Leona 3 and still sitting on Tristana 1, I have to imagine that even if you have Leona 2, Tristana 2, your stage 3 probably goes a lot better.
That's true.
Both sides using Share Your Energy at this point. I'm taking a look at the Elise, which is the big hero of the new
big
patch.
loss here.
Oh, the bounces from Zoe taking Dasik to 1.
Ironbog able to win that fight, but looking at his bench, I mean, he needs to find these upgrades, and if he cannot, I cannot imagine the stage 5 goes well for him.
And no gold to work with for most of these players, so you can see the desperation. I think it's a big tell that Dish Hope is still 100 HP, and he has been adding so much extra pressure to this lobby, forcing everyone to spend all of their gold.
I don't want to jinx it, but can the perfect player get the perfect game?
Ooh.
You just jinxed it, Necro.
Well, no,
did
he
hear-
jinxed it because he has a jinx.
She specifically said she didn't want to jinx it, which is supposed to counteract.
Is that how that
Yeah,
works?
exactly.
pretty sure.
And you have to cross your fingers and your toes and knock on wood. Right?
Okay. I'm going through all the motions right now.
EMEA in trouble here. Jediswar also down to 1 life, just 10 HP to work with, moving to stage 5.
Take a look at his cash outs. It looks like because of the early grief on stage 2, no perfected items.
At only 10 HP, that can be really scary, especially even if you can survive for right now. Not having a perfected item makes it way harder to actually win out, which means one bad matchup and you are gone.
Disto is not going for the perfect game. He's still sitting on 60 gold. He has his eyes on the prize.
Oh, Tristana 3 found.
Finally.
Is it too little too late, though? That's the big question. It's just 1 HP for Dasik. He has to win every single fight now. And because of the way Tristana works, if you haven't been winning before this, if you've been losing so much, you haven't been scaling her stacks, and that means you're going to be much weaker than you would be on average coming into this stage 5. And you're facing off against Disto, facing the Grim Reaper in this lobby, but he hasn't upgraded his board just yet.
Exactly. He's sacking right now, and I will say it is a massive upgrade coming in for Dasik. He not only does find the Tristana 3, but he also is able to get 3 items on the Leona and the Rel.
Oh, that Tristana actually gets taken out.
Wow.
The Jinx did so much splash damage that it's just the Leona left.
And
would you believe it that the Zoe actually does enough to get rid of that Leona? And Dasik is out.
It is nothing wasted on the Jinx there, so she's still doing a lot with the Anomaly despite no upgrade. And a tragic game from Dasik. I think maybe you can consider that the scaling and the Tristana coming in too late was not ideal, but hitting so late with Starry Night is definitely below average there.
No, I think that's one of the games you do have to chalk up at least some degree to variance. And what I want to see more so than him playing better is really just that he plays not worse coming out of that game, because that can be a really frustrating experience, playing a game where so many of the factors were outside of your control. We need to see Dasik bounce back next game.
10 HP against a clone, not too bad for Jedusor in his position. And he does get that 3-star Smeech. Not the item you really want with the Baltic Saber. You would really prefer the Chain Blade.
You'll take anything at this point.
LDP setup between the Rennie and the Smeech in this case, empowering the Smeech even further, really making this a 1v9 carry.
Garen's huge, though.
Garen is huge. The damage is gone. I mean, I think Jedu's good for this one. Bio and Sao Pimi fighting off in the wings. Sao Pimi takes a hit there, though, so Sao Pimi should be dead. Oof.
Sao Pimi with the Vander game, too. I feel like that was also another one of our players that hit their carry really late with the Vander 3, so...
I do want to mention a bit of low rolling across the board here. Lilo took malicious monetization and is on 1-star Silco.
Man.
Oh, boy.
On the flip side, I think Disto playing into the high roll, but had a really, really great tempo game plan from stage 2 and 3, rewarded by finding those extra jinxes. And I assume he's gone 9 at 5-2. I mean, I assume he's had a pretty big roll down, considering he's on just 3 gold now. And we'll see if he maybe does, as you mentioned, Necra, go for that perfect game with how strong he's been able to get.
Here we go. Disto up against Jedusor.
Still Jinx 2 and Zoe 2 in this case, so maybe a little bit unfortunate in the end here on level 9.
I mean, this Smeech at least doesn't actually get stunned too badly, and it's able to make its way through the front line to the other side and onto the Jinx as well. Okay, we did jinx it. This probably isn't going to be that perfect.
Don't say we.
You can anti-jinx it. Carousel coming up.
True.
He is last pick, though.
True.
Surely someone would stop this from coming in, but there is a Rebel +1 on the carousel here. No Jinx to be found, unfortunately.
And there's no Reforger, so someone would have to take that and be able to add it into their board. Or just leave it, I guess, for dish soap there, but maybe
Ironbog want to be the hero. Does he play defense? No, he goes for the family +1 in this case.
Lucas is thinking about it.
Oh, Lucas does take the Elise.
And technically actually does have a spot to be able to use that Rebel emblem. When you do have the Ezreal as well as the Alawi on your board, that's one way that you can activate the Rebel synergy without being able to do it naturally.
Not too bad for Jedus with their Firelight +1, empowering the Echo as a secondary carry in the amateur comp.
He also got a Victor, which is what I like to see.
Bio able to go 9. Playing around the experiment variation was pretty cool. We get to see it primarily because of the Moonlight coming through on that 4-2 augment. It does make it kind of awkward to fit something like the LeBlanc onto your board, though, if you do hit that.
Yeah, also choosing to keep the 4 Emissary there as well. For Lucas, he should have the damage edge in this matchup, and maybe even the tank edge as well.
Oh, I mean, the Golem is just too big.
This is one of those fights where you really want to be able to just bypass that Golem instead and try and get onto the back line. For instance, I think playing something like the Ambushers will probably have a bit of an easier time, especially when Echo, for instance, can just hop into the back line, even though Smeech might be stuck on the Golem.
Unfortunate elimination here as well. In both of the games in this day 3, it's been Lucas eliminating Bio in stage 5. So another time where the Brazilians face off and Bio ends up losing.
3 players below 10 HP at this point. It's just Dish Soap calling their names one by one and eliminating them off their list. We still haven't seen other boards that are strong enough to go up against Dish at this point. Form Swapper for Ironbog, we know this has a high cap, but critically, he's missing those 2-star Form Swappers.
I wonder if
Highly
Dish Soap should have
contested units.
maybe not rolled as deep in this stage 5 with the HP he had to maybe mitigate the low rolls of not hitting the Jinx or the Zoe. We'll see have another gold injection coming in, but Ironbog on his last life, Jeduzor as well, both are fighting to stay alive, to go into stage 6. The Smeech trying his absolute best to chew through his board, but so many different units. The Elite Burst comes through, and that looks like it might just be it. The Echo cleared in the end. The after images surely can take down the Hex Crystal. What a win from Jeduzor. Just barely getting that win there. Nope, that was a clone.
That was a clone, but Jedusor is going to fall as well. And so now we're at our top 3, Dish Soap, Lucas, and Lilo, who's only at 3 HP. You can see Dish Soap, he's got the HP. He can kind of chill for a little bit. He's going to potentially hit another interest threshold here, have another item, maybe start itemizing things like the Echo as well.
And
But is it going to be Lucas and Dish Soap that
Same top
go
two.
first and second again, back to back?
Could be. I mean, Lucas on the 4-win streak, looking very strong. I will say, when I look at the high end of Dish Soap and Lucas, the thing that stands out to me is how much backline access Dish Soap actually has. With both the Zoe and the Jinx, once those are both
rolling.
upgraded,
Oh, Jinx too!
There it is.
he should be able to have a way to kill those artillerists despite the Golem being in front of them.
Jinx 2 is going to be the way to do that for sure.
Jace 2, though, for Lilo on the bottom side.
And a really cool thing here for Lucas is he actually does have the Hodge onto the Corki, so there's a potential chance he can survive the initial burst.
Oh,
He
he's switched up the
did
amortization,
remove.
though. Finds a QSS. Oh!
Wow, I like that too. Put the
Good.
Hodge onto the Azrael as well. It just gives you even more of that backline presence.
We'll see how the fight turns out in the end. It's going to be very hard to deal with that Jinx damage coming through with nothing wasted specifically.
And that
Lucas.
hit from Dish Soap is going to be able to snap the loss streak from Lucas coming in. And we can see, despite the fact that that QSS did prevent the Rebel Stun from actually coming through and disrupting Lucas, the damage wasn't there to actually break through everything, and Dish Soap just had too many threats on his board.
And this is just the fantasy for the Rebel game, right? You have a high tempo stage 2 and 3. You're able to finally get your upgrades in stage 5 and 6. You have everything online, Anomaly on the Jinx, items for all of your carries, including the Zoe and the Ezreal. The big gem to maybe time exactly where the Jinx rocket comes in and deal so much damage, obliterate the boards here.
Is going to be Lilo on the other side of the board now. Both players playing for their lives right now, both at 1 HP potentially. The Garen's still alive. Some damage starts falling, but there's just so much raw damage from the Corki and the Ezreal. I do wonder if it's going to be enough.
And look at the Golem. I mean,
Silco's still up though.
Oh,
Man's
look at the
still
targeting.
there. Corki versus Silco. Corki wins. Lilo taken out. Lucas versus Dish Soap. Both of the Americas players once again in the top 2. Very clear locks to maybe make it into check, even just on the game 3.
but I think this time around, the script is going to be flipped here. Disco going first, Lucas going second. Unless you're able to get some wacky positioning, I feel like the way that Lucas has this board, it's just perfect Jinx food.
This is crazy because we have 2 players that could potentially check in the next game. Are you boys up for a short day?
Considering EMEA
No.
positioning this game 2, no. I want a game 8.
So he does swap back the Hodge back onto the Corki. I think that's the only chance as his main carry to survive the initial burst, but it gets stunned right off the bat from the Jinx.
The
Gonna
Corki
do the
moving
big
behind the
rocket.
Ezreal. So difficult. The Corki is alive, is healing, does kill off the Jinx, does take the win there, but there's a huge mountain decline. Look at the
Yes.
HP that Dish Soap has.
I mean, still 63 HP, or it might have been 63
Yeah,
going
that's 5
into
more
it.
fights.
There's 6 costs now, so Dish Soap actually has the option to take a Mel, which means even if you break through all of the HP that he's been able to keep the entire game, he's going to have one more shot. This essentially guarantees Dish Soap is going level 10. This game is going to have the highest cap possible for Rebel, so truthfully, I think it's going to be a tough one, but Lucas does find the Warwick and can get Experiment online if he wants to have that.
Is playing defense in an entirely different way from Dish Soap.
Did he have this
Defending the
Experiment
Warwick.
emblem the entire time? Did he have the experiment emblem the entire time?
It wasn't picked up here.
It wasn't,
I
okay.
don't believe so.
Oh, and Dissope actually has his units together here, so there's a chance for the AoE stun to do some work.
Yeah, watch the Jinx ult to see what it actually does hit. Watch that line coming through. It's only going to hit the Alawi, so the Corki's still able to free fire until the Rebel stun comes in.
Ooh, the Corki bursted down.
Ezreal's
The
still
Ezreal
alive.
also down. It's just the Golem left alive. I don't think he can do it by himself. Dissope takes the win, and Lucas knocked down to just 1 HP and a dream.
Doesn't have much gold to work with. Taking a look at his board, the only crazy upgrades he could find are realistically those 5 and 6 costs. Dissope still has plenty of gas.
Look at this Warwick, though. You have 3 items on it, the QSS, the Runaan's, and the Artillery, so many base stats built into it, and the potential to maybe just burst down something with the Runaan stack alone.
This is the desperation try. Moving his items from the Ezreal. He really needs these units to not fly out at the start, needs the Warwick to survive long enough towards those executes.
Oh. Warwick already on the front line. Doesn't get stunned there. It's going to get another execute, but now he's being targeted. The Warwick will fall so early on in this fight.
Corki's still up. The Omnigram from the Hodge is big. He cannot cast again.
Wow.
And that's going to be it. Dissope, the perfect player, takes a huge win in games 2.